Good morning. Good morning, everybody. I can't see now. I'm old. My eyesight is failing me. What is happening, everybody? Sawadee Cup, Sawadee Ton Chow, Sabadi My Cup, Kamalayu, Nang Didi, Pakpon. Relax, take it easy. Today we're going to talk about whether or not there are too many tourists in Thailand, coming to Thailand. And so that is what we're going to do today. So, you know, we might as well get right into it. I'm waiting for my drinks. Here they are. Very nice. Thank you. Thank you, thank you. It's funny that you say that because it's funny that you say what a strange looking man, because when I see a name like Club Filler's Pink Knickers, I think, what a funny name. What am I supposed to think? Anyway, here we are. Another day in Bangkok. It is Wednesday, March 26th. As a guy with colored hair and funny looking clothes walks by me. This is Thailand. Anyway, I've got my coffee. They don't have a very good ice cube in there, but all right. I've been having these at home lately. Just an ice. You can't, I don't even know if you can. There you go. You see it there? An ice ball, water, and because today is 2 for 1 day, so you buy one drink, you get a second one free. And there's nobody here. I'm not expecting anybody, so I have a second drink right here. Ah, that's good. Okay, let's see where we are here. Okay. Good morning, good evening, wherever you are in the world. I am Scott, and in case you don't know, I've been here for a little while, 30 years, and today we're going to delve into a topic that, you know, we think about, but we don't always talk about it, and that is what happens when there's too many tourists in Thailand. And I talked about it before a while ago. I talked about what happens if they hit 50 million. Well, they haven't even hit 40 million and they're already experiencing problems. So is the country hitting a breaking point? And what does that mean for the people who live here, people like me, and for you if you're living here, and for the tourists who are coming here? What does that mean? You know, Thailand has quite a few reasons to come here. The beaches, the cheap food, the mountains, the cities, the nightlife, and of course, we can't forget the Thai smile. But the truth is, when 40 million people flood into a country, the smiles start to fade, or they become a little more fake, and it becomes harder for the average Thai to live their life. And not even just the average Thai, but the average foreigner. Now, for me, it doesn't really bother me that much because I kind of don't want to go to where the tourists are. But that is getting harder and harder to find. I know a few places. I know some places I can go and there won't be many tourists at all. I won't be bumping into them. They may be expats living in that city, something like that. But the Thais want to live their life, and they don't want to have to deal with people who are just looking for the best Instagram photo or where they can get the cheapest beer. I mean, after a while that gets a little bit old. And I understand why the Thais are jaded in the tourist industry. They are jaded. And I've said it for probably 10 years. Even 15 years. 15 years ago I said in 10 years Thailand is going to go down into the toilet. And guess what happened? Thailand went into the toilet. It's been in the toilet. You can argue that it's not in the toilet, but guess what? Compared to how it used to be, and I know, oh, well, I don't know how it used to be. Okay, then you have no idea what it was like 30 years ago, 32 years ago. You don't know what it was like. And believe me, it was spectacular. Now, it's good, but it's not great. It's not as good as it used to be. I don't care what anybody says. That's my view, right? Listen, I'll tell you something. You guys some people talk about the Indians, the Russians, the Chinese, the Israelis, but another nationality that has really made their mark here, and rather silently, is the Burmese. In my neighborhood, there are hundreds of Burmese. They work in the markets. They work all over the place. I can't remember when it was, but maybe it was a year or two ago. I was out at the park. I don't know, what is it? The Arboretum? What the hell do they call it? Suwon Pruk. Where I've streamed from, where I've, shot videos and all that other kind of stuff. It's nearby here. And there was some day where it was Burmese Day, Burma Day, or whatever. They had all kinds of things going on, and there were literally hundreds of Burmese. And you know what? None of them bothered me. There were no problems. Unlike, say, in some tourist areas, the Burmese are here working. They're trying to make a living and try to get ahead in life. And I would say the Russians and Indians, they're coming here to get away. They're coming here for a vacation. And if something goes wrong, it seems like they don't really know how to handle things. You could blame it on the nationality. I don't really want to do that. But anyway, let me just continue on here. Thailand's government, like in most countries, what Thailand cares about? Money, number one. That's what they care about. They figure, let the tourists come, let them bitch and moan and complain. Hopefully a lot of them will have fun, but some of them will complain. Let them complain, but at least we get the money. And until the roads are gridlocked, the hospitals are full, and there is no more water, the cost of living pushes the locals out of their own town, well, then we may not see any action from the government. And I'm not here to sugarcoat anything. I rarely do. I don't sugarcoat much. I'm careful, but I don't sugarcoat much. Hey, Dowlo. What is happening is the country's soul is being sold off to the highest bidder, one beachfront condo at a time. And, they did this with Muay Thai. I hate to say it, but that's what they did. They sold out Muay Thai. Now, there are a lot of places in the world, in the United States, where Muay Thai is not what it is here in Thailand. It is different. It's just kind of like the food. They've sold out the food. They want to make it towards what the Westerners like, instead of just making it like Thai food. Okay, that's what they do with a lot of things, right or wrong. But today we're going to talk about what this means for Thailand and Thailand's future and how it impacts people who live here, because believe me, it's getting harder for regular folks here to survive the way they used to survive, and what it means for those people coming here who are tourists, because eventually even the tourists suffer when there's too much of a good thing. They're looking for 40 million this year, and I think they're pretty much on track. So what does that mean? Well, if you stick around and you join me in the chat and tell me what you think, we'll get to it. But have you been here lately? Have any of you been here lately? Did it feel more crowded, more expensive, less Thai? So I'm going to put a few poll questions in the chat along the way because I'd like to know. And I think we are already past the point of no return. Thailand is a couple of years behind upgrading everything to meet the needs of the tourists. That's what I think. So I don't know. I would say there's probably time to fix it, but it's going to take a number of years. So that's what's happening. Now let me see something here, because I have, as I said, I have a number of polls here. Let's see here. Where is my poll? Poll number 1. Okay. This is a pretty easy one. And I think I can put this up here. I'm not sure. Yes, start a poll. Let me see. Yes, a little, not really. Yes. Yes. A little. No. And haven't been there yet. Okay, let me just let's see if anybody answers this poll and what kind of answers we get. There we are. All right. Ooh, I like that. I'm here at the moment. It feels very Thai where we are. No tourists around here. I bet if you look a little bit, Dowlo, you'll probably find them. Whether it's in the shopping malls or whatever. Samut Prakan doesn't have as many tourists as, say, Pattaya or Phuket or even some parts of Bangkok. And this is what I do, Dale. I avoid the places where there are tourists. I don't even like going down to Sukhumvit anymore. You know, really, I don't really like going to Sukhumvit because I already know. You know, and personally, I don't have anything against people coming here to visit and all that, but I don't know, maybe it's just at this point I feel like a local. I don't feel like I'm a visitor and I've been living here for 30 years, but I'm just a visitor. No, this is my home, right? So when I see people and they're, they got their dreadlocks and they got their little flip-flops on, for 59 baht or whatever they are, and they're just walking around with a huge backpack on, I don't know. I'd rather be around a different sort of person. No offense to them. I'd rather be around, people who really care about the culture and who, listen, you don't have to care all that much about it, especially if you're a tourist. But, people who respect the culture. They come here and they just respect it. That's all. Not people who are walking around with no shirts off, no shoes on. They think it's really cool to be here, and they don't even realize that they're acting like a dumbass. And there are a lot of people like this. I can tell you, Dowlo, in Bahtman, there's not many tourists, but there are some. And that's where Billy used to live, in Bahtman. Billy and fake Navy SEAL used to live out there. And I've been there many times to Mega Bahtman and to IKEA in Bahtman and to, what is it called? Decathlon in Bahtman. I've been there many times. So I'm not a tourist, so a lot of people that are there are probably locals or foreign locals, expats. But what I'm talking about is, I'm talking about when you go to, say, um, you know, Koh Phi Phi, you go to Koh Samui, you go to Pattaya, you go to Chiang Mai, and you go into the areas where there are nothing but tourists. And I'm talking about there are all sorts of tourists. There are Chinese, there are Americans, there's Brits, there's, you know, you name it, they are there. There's Spaniards, there's more Spaniards now. Yeah, but the BTS and the MRT is damn near everywhere now. You know, Sukhumvit is just a place, there's a reason they call it the ghetto. The Farang ghetto, that's what it's called. And, you know, I mean, I used to live down on Soi 1. And I would never live there now, ever. I would not even consider it. If my wife told me that, I said, no, I'm not moving there. And if you persist in wanting to live there, well, I'm not going to live there. I won't be with you. I won't be joining you. Because it's just too touristy. You know, you got Soy Arab down there. You got Africa, Soy Africa. You know, this is lower Sukhumvit. But, I mean, you know, even if you go up to upper Sukhumvit, there are, you know, you go down to, what is it, Prakanong. You go there. All right, it's all right. It's an older section, but it's still kind of, it's not really, how can I say this? It's a mix. It's a mix of places that are catering to foreigners and to Thais. It's not just, we're here for Thais. And that's kind of what I like. That's for me. I don't have the desire to go to Soy Nana, you know, and see drunk guys dancing up on the stage. It doesn't really do anything for me. But that, you know, that could be all kinds of people. All right, so what do we got here? Let me see this so far. 7 votes. 7%, 57% think it's crowded, overcrowded. 29% says it's a little bit overcrowded, and 14% says haven't been to Thailand. Interesting. Okay, let me proceed here. Now, again, pre-COVID, it was, I think it was 39 million. They're shooting for that again. And the government is really banking hard on trying to get the tourism revenue. And it's so funny because during COVID, the government acknowledged that the bulk of their money comes from tourism revenue. And they actually said, we need to focus on getting our revenue from other sources. That's what they said. Now, they also said that COVID came from foreigners. No, they're on par. They also said that foreigners brought in the COVID, filthy foreigners. That was Anutin who said that. And then they had the gall to go out and say, hey, all you foreigners who are living in Thailand right now, you can travel, please travel, spend your money, go around to different places and spend your money here. After they said, they just were like belittling foreigners simply for being foreigners, and because there are some filthy foreigners, just as there are some filthy Thais. I hate to tell them, but not all Thais are clean. Most are, but believe me, I've seen a few grody Thais in my day. So what I'm wondering is Thailand really handling the return of tourism the right way? They've got this, you don't need a visa, you can just come into the country, and they're still debating on whether to go from 60 days to 30 days. Which, you know, why can't anybody in the government come out with an idea and say, we are proposing this, and then 3 days later, boom, okay, we've decided this is what's going to happen. Now what you have is all these news organizations, all these YouTubers that come out and say, oh, Thailand's going from 60 days to 30 days. Well, they have proposed that, and it might happen, but guess what? It might not happen. Nobody said anything. It's just like I say. Oh, we're not gonna have any recreational marijuana anymore. We're gonna change it. We haven't done a damn thing in at least a year. So, you know, you got to take that with a grain of salt. All right, let me look and see what's going on here. Good morning, good morning. Okay, now we got 11 votes, and 55% say yes, and 36 say a little, and 9% say haven't been to Thailand. So it's at least a little bit crowded. Now I can tell you, having gone to some tourist areas, Pattaya, Chiang Mai, Chiang Rai, Phuket, I've been to all these places in the last year or two. Yes, there's too many tourists. In my opinion, there's way too many tourists. I went to Phuket. Now, I don't want to go back to Phuket. I don't want to go back to Phuket because there was too many people. It wasn't that there were too many Russians or that there were too many Indians or too many Chinese. It wasn't that. There were too many people. And I'm like, it's not fun. I'm walking on the sidewalk and, it's like you're in New York City. There's so many people around you, and I'm like, this sucks, man. I go to fly my drone, and there's like 2 other people flying the drone right in this little area. And I was like, well, this kind of sucks, man. It just didn't have the same vibe that it used to have. I mean, listen, Phuket's a different kind of animal, in my opinion. It can get a bit crazy if you're down by Bangla or any of that area. You go somewhere else, Phuket town or something, you can have a little bit of a better time and things can be a little better. Now let's see here. Okay, 2019, it was 39.8 million tourists, the 6th most visited country. 2023 to 2024 projections were to 30 to 35 million. I think it was 29 million. The major tourist cities are Bangkok, Pattaya, Phuket, Chiang Mai, and Koh Samui. And the reason is that, first of all, there's a lot more global nomads, and there's a lot more low-cost carriers, and there's still cheap accommodations. I know if I look for a place, I can find a place for 300, 400, 500 baht. Because I've been looking for places in the last couple of days, because we may go to Surat for Songkran. And if we're going to do that, then I kind of want to go for a few days, either before or after. I want to go and kind of check it all out. But these areas, they do not have an abundance of foreigners. I'm not going to these places. Like when I went to Kanom and to Sichuan, there was very, very few. I mean, like maybe 10 people in the whole place is what I saw. That's it. Good day, mate. I mean, how many people have heard when you go to Thailand, it's not the real Thailand? That's what you hear. Now, that's not true. It is the real Thailand. This is exactly how Thailand is. When you go to Pattaya, Phuket, when you go to these places, this is how the Thais are. They want your money. They want to promote tourism. They're proud of their country, but it's a little bit too much. I don't know what they can do. What are they supposed to do? Limit the number of people that come in? Charge people per day? I mean, what can they do? What they can do is reinstate some of the visa policies that they have taken away. For, say, Indians, Chinese, they should make it a little more difficult. But they won't do that. They won't do that because that means they're going to lose out on their revenue. My entire family will not be marching in Songkran shirts. I can tell you that right now. It's not going to happen. $0 tours. Oh, yes. The Chinese groups bringing little local revenues, but overloading the infrastructure. It's what they do. When they're putting their money back into the system, they're putting their money back into Chinese-owned organizations and businesses. That's what they're doing, okay? In Suvarnabhumi, Don Mueang, Phuket, the airports are overcrowded. There are transportation bottlenecks. The road, Bangkok's traffic is worsening. Chiang Mai's tiny streets are not built for mass tourism. And I said it, and nobody really talks about it that much. They always talk about, oh, Hua Hin is so great. It's so wonderful. I don't think it's wonderful anymore. I was there when there were not many foreigners. It was a Thai getaway. That's what it used to be. It was not a place where foreigners went. Now it's a place where foreigners go, and there is major traffic. I could not believe it. Me and Billy we were there, and we were walking down the street. And when we walked down the street, it was like, you know, 1 lane, 2 lanes, so, you know, 1 or 2 cars could be going. And we were walking down the street, and, you know, okay, no problem there. Then once we hit the main street, it was just major traffic. There was all kinds of automobiles and motorcycles. And I was just like, you know, no, this is not okay. I see Thailand going to introduce a new arrival digital card on the... Yeah, I don't understand that either. You know, to me, that's a bunch of bullshit. Now, every time I leave, I have to do that before I come in. I understand it's not that much, but all these little things that are not so much, after a while, people go, what is this bullshit? Why do I have to do this? I got to do the 90-day report. I got to do the TM30. I got to do this. I got to do that. When does it end? All because I want to come to your country. Now, I've lived here for a long time. I didn't used to have to do this stuff. Why do they change it? Why do they change it now? What's the matter? What's going wrong? What is so bad about how it was? You know, I don't know, you know. I mean, when I think about this kind of stuff, I don't want to have to deal with it. So now, if I leave the country, to me, I got to think about, oh, I can't forget to log in online and do all the paperwork before I come. I have to remember to do that. I don't want to have to remember anything. Why do I have to remember? Because I'm coming to your country. I got my passport. I'm legal. I'm a U.S. citizen. I'm allowed to come for, now it's 60 days, without a visa. And for me, I can come here for a year. I just walk right in. Now, why do I have to? I'm already doing the 90-day report. I'm already doing the TM30. Now I got to do something else. They haven't had this for how long? A year? Remember when you used to be on the airline and they used to give you the paper before you landed? You just have to fill it out. And they would ask you me my salary, and I go, it's none of your business. You don't need to know how much I make. You know, it's like they're too intrusive now. And I don't mean it's only Thailand. This is everywhere. They're too damn intrusive. The United States wants to know everything. Oh my God, I can't even talk about Australia. If you're Australian, you know. To get into Australia is a pain in the ass. To get into the United States is a pain in the ass for some people. I know lots of people in the boxing industry who they had problems. They couldn't get into the United States. Maybe they were from South America somewhere or wherever. They couldn't get in. And it was like, all right, now we got to find somebody else to take their place. Why? All they wanted to do was come in and fight. And then they want to leave. Just a headache, man. It's a headache. Water shortages in Phuket, Koh Samui. Overflowing sewage. Electric grids pushed to the limits. Hospitals overloaded with tourists in peak seasons. These are some of the things that have been happening. Yeah, they're all going to go digital and all. Listen. There's going to be a time when, I've talked about, I don't want to, I want to live here part-time. I want to live somewhere else part-time. I may not do that. And you know why? Because I don't want to have to deal with any of this bullshit. I'll just never go out of the country. Why? I've already been where I want to go, for the most part. If I don't go see some of the other places, I'm not going to lose any sleep over it. But I'll go see my parents in the U.S. and my sister. And other than that, I don't really care. And they can always come into Thailand. I think those days are pretty much over now, but, it's getting to that point. I'm comfortable. So if I find another place somewhere else where a lot of people will not go because it's too much of a hassle to go there. I think the reason that people don't like to go to Kanom and Sichon, those two places in particular, which are, and also Chumpon, I think the reason that people don't like to go there is because in the case of Kanom and Sichon, you have to fly to Suratani or to Nakhon Si Thammarat. Then you have to take a van, which is, it's like an hour and 15 minutes, hour and a half, to go to Kanom, we'll say, or Sichon. So they don't want to take that extra trip, even though really, if you're in Phuket and you've got to take you're going to go down to, say, Bangla, if there's a lot of traffic, it might take you 45 minutes to get there, an hour to get there. So it's not really all that much different, but I think the idea is that it is different, and that, there's not anything, that is an end point. You go to Phuket, you can go somewhere else. You can go to Khao Lak. You can go to wherever you want to go from there. When you are in Kanom and Sichon, you have to go back to the airport, back to the train station, or something like that. I'm having a boy, and well, congratulations. Well, if you're having a child in Thailand, that child should be Thai. If you're having it with a Thai woman, and you don't need to get that. You just get them a Thai passport. But only if you have, the visa is for you. I see. So, well, congratulations first, but if you're having a child here and the mother is Thai, well then, yeah, he'll have two passports like my kids do. My kids have two passports. It's great for them. They speak both languages very easily. It's great for them. There's a lot of other things, a lot of other benefits that they have because of that. So it is a good thing. But yeah, it does help avoid complications, even for, 5, 10 years, whatever you want to get it, 5, 10, 20 years. An elite visa. That's what it is. Let's see here. All right, let me do this here. I want to look at this. So here it is here. 62, we got 24 votes. 62% of people say that Thailand is already overcrowded. 33% say it's a little overcrowded, and 4% say they haven't been to Thailand, but 0% say not really. Now, I'm going to end this poll. So if you want to vote on it, please do. Now, let me ask this other question here. Thank you, Charles. Thank you very much. I wish I could give you a thumbs up there, but I can't. So, choke D to you. Appreciate it. Let me do this here. I'll just end this poll. And let's start another one. There you can see the results of that poll. Start a poll. Here's the question. Now let me write this. Beaches, island, food and culture. Beaches and islands, food and culture. Cheap cost of living. Cheap cost of living. Oh, so you can only have 4. You can have only 4 options here, which kind of sucks. But here's the next poll. What is the main reason you think people come to Thailand? There we go. Beaches and islands, food and culture, cheap cost of living, women and nightlife. And really it should be, I wanted to put all of the above. Yeah, that's what I wanted to put. Although I'm not here for the women anymore. And quite frankly, I'm not here for the food as much anymore. You know, I mean, most of the time, I'll tell you what. I think the quality of Thai food has dropped a little bit in the last 10 years. And I don't mean like, oh, it's really bad now. No, that's not what I mean. I mean, in the past, it was, and it might be my perception. But I used to have a meal, and I used to go, oh my God, this is so good. I just sit there. Oh. And I'd let the food melt in my mouth. It was so good. You know, and I don't expect that all the time. But I expect pretty damn good. Now, I won't say which restaurant this is, but this is a restaurant that I go to all the time, and they always have pretty consistent food. But they've been forced to change their model a little bit. They've been forced to change their model because the mall changed their model, and probably the rent was too expensive for them to go upstairs where there are standalone restaurants. So they're downstairs here, which is where they were before, but they had a standalone restaurant before. Now they're part of the whole conglomerate down here on the first floor in the food court. So they've been forced to change things because no one can sit at their restaurant. You have to sit out in the public area. Okay? So they've changed their food up. Now, about 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago, I had a curry dish. It was curried chicken. And I thought, oh, this is pretty good. And then a couple days ago, I had the same curry chicken. And I looked at the curry and I go, this curry is not real thick. It's kind of thin and watery. And I went, that's not okay. When you get a curry, it should be thick and heavy and really, you know, a lot of curry in it. And I was just like, they kind of watered it down. And I'm like, that sucks. So, you know. Well, if you know anything about Thailand, you know that the Thai government has been trying to bring in the high-spending tourists. The high-dollar tourists. And it has never worked. Yes, some people have money, But let's just face it, not everybody is rich. They can't come in with $300,000 and decide to buy a place, and then they're going to live here and spend, $10, $20, $30,000 a month. Not many people do that. Now, I don't think there's all that many cheap Charlies living here, but I know a lot of people that are living in around the $1,500 to $3,000 range. That seems to me to be the norm. Oh, wow, this is very different. Yeah, see, a quarter of the people say women and nightlife. A quarter of the people say beaches. A third of the people say food and culture. And the cheap cost of living is last. And I'll tell you what, I don't stay here because of the cheap cost of living. It is cheaper than back home. And I think, hey, I get a good value here. But I don't think it's cheap sometimes. Listen, I go grocery shopping. I always bring this up. I'm sorry. Yeah, okay, you can have a bowl of noodles. I don't want to have a bowl of noodles every day, Dowlo. If I want, I can have a bowl of noodles right down here for 39 baht. Or I can pay 89 baht or 99 baht and have a huge bowl of noodles. I can do that if I want. But I don't want to eat noodles every day. No offense to anybody. I mean, if I want an omelet, I can have a kajio musap, kajio hamdang. I can have any of these. Kajio with pork, kajio with red onion. I can have all these things. And it might cost me 40 or 50 baht. They're not going to fill me up. They're not as nutritious as you should really eat. So what I'll say is, I go in to the grocery now. I mean, it's changed. And I mean, I'm spending more now than I have ever before. And, Alex is, with his jaw, he had jaw surgery. And he's now eating a little more solid food. But I've got to keep him on the yogurts. He eats eggs. He'll have noodles. He'll have things like that. Not real strong, tough stuff. He can't eat that. So I'm constantly going to the grocery. Now I got him a big bag of protein that's really high calorie, so he doesn't lose weight. And I always get him yogurt. I get him all kinds of stuff. I get him soup. And the soup, let me tell you, the minimum price for the soup is 90 baht. For some onion soup, a large, not large, 80 baht I think is the small, and the large is 90 baht. But if you want something like salmon chowder, clam chowder, beef stew, it's 149, 150 baht for it's probably about this big. That big. That's the size of the soup. It's a bowl of soup. So it's not like you're getting this fantastic deal for $5, $4 or $5. You're not. It's okay. It's a decent deal. The food is good. The soup is good. But you're still paying $4 or $5. So it's not like you're getting the best deal you can get. Well, there's a way around the kids going into the military. You just send them, they go into 1 day a week, they go to junior ROTC, which is very easy. They go and they do that for, I think it's 2 or 3 years. My kids did it, they don't have to go into the military. Easy as that. Floated out the potential of an arrival fee. Well, they're still talking about that, Jim. They're still proposing it, and they still want to bring it in. It's 300 baht, which is about $9. Now, I don't understand why they want to do that. I don't have a problem with the amount. It doesn't bother me that much, but this is kind of the ties. They nickel and dime people to death And then before you know it, you go, this is not a $1,500 trip. This is a $2,500 trip by the time you're done with them. Each category is dependent on the demographic of age and gender. Yeah, 2 passports is wise. Wonton noodles. I know, but you know what? Dowlo, big deal. So you get a bowl of soup for 50 baht. I mean, if I want, I can go across the street and get something for 30 baht if I want it. But it's not going to fill me up. And I mean, I'm not a little guy. But okay, even if I was a little guy, it's probably not going to fill me up. It doesn't fill my kids up. Even my wife, it doesn't fill her up. Listen, I bought some staw yesterday from the market. If you know what staw is, they're stink beans. And they taste really good. But when you pee or you shit, you can smell them. You know how much one thing, there's about 4 strands with the stink beans in them. 100 baht. Okay? They're not dirt cheap. That's $3. $3 for something that you'll eat in one meal. That's just to add to the meal. You know, like you get some chicken, you get some curry, and you put that in there. Okay. Well, the pork belly is going to cost you a little bit. Pork belly here is about 100 baht for 150 grams, which is not that bad. But that's one meal. Higher interest fee might weed out the bun-headed backpackers. Meanwhile, I think that Lao charges $60 entrance fee. I don't remember what they charge, and my wife might be going there next week. She asked me if I wanted to go, and I said no. She wants to go to, well, she doesn't want to go there. She has to go for like 2 days to Luang Prabang. And she asked me if I wanted to go, and I said, for 2-3 days? I'm like, no. Why? I've been there. Been there, done that. And you know what? I'm not so impressed by the place where I got to go back. It's kind of like Thailand, you know. Although, maybe a bit behind Thailand. But, you know, I've been there already. I've been there numerous times. And I went there, you know, I don't know what it was, a year and a half ago. 2 years, I don't know. And I just don't want to go back. It's just not worth it. I'm going to have to go there and do what? Spend money, buy a coffee. Well, I can buy a coffee here. Yeah, and I got to pay to get in. It's not worth it. I don't need to go see it again. I'm not that enthralled with Laos. If I'm going to go, I want to spend some serious time there. You know, I want to spend a month there. Now I know how to go about hello. Why is he the Chi River shark? I don't understand that. Hello, Tuk. Sawadee krap. Sabadi my krap. Yeah, man. Hear that music? Anyway, let me continue. Let's see here. Impact on the local communities. What supermarket do you go to? I go to Gourmet Market, man. It's right here. I don't want to go to Lotus. I find Lotus, the quality is a bit lower than Gourmet Market, and while the price is a little higher here, the quality is higher. I could go to Foodland down the street, and sometimes the prices are up, sometimes they're down. It doesn't really matter, but this is right here. I just walk outside, jump in a taxi, it takes me 5 minutes and I'm home. I don't want to take 10 minutes when I can take 5 minutes. And the food is quite good here. I know where everything is. I can get pretty much whatever I want here. The only thing that I can't get here is mahi-mahi, and I know where to get it, and I'm going to be getting it soon. So hopefully I'll work that out. Oh, I think you told me before, but I just don't remember it. Okay, so locals priced out of housing in tourist zones in Phuket, Samui, even Chiang Mai, because the cost of living is a little bit higher. Okay, I don't know that that's the case, but anytime you have foreigners moving into an area, and you have something like the SkyTrain or the MRT coming in, the prices tend to go up. And places like Pai, Chiang Mai, Koh Phangan is losing their Thai identity. And, you know, I hate to go on about Pai, but, you know, really, it is what it is. And quite frankly, what do I want to go to a place where it's full of foreigners? That's why I didn't go to Koh Phangan. When I went to Koh Chang in the south, I met a German guy there. He's very cool. What the hell was his name? Gunther or Bernard or something? I can't remember his name. Very nice guy, though. And he told me, he goes, you go to Koh Phangan, he goes, man, there's young kids, all they're doing is partying. There's little bars sprouting up everywhere. He goes, if you want peace and quiet, that is not the place to go. And I went, okay, well, I'll change. I'm going to Koh Chang, and that's where I went. And it was very, very nice at the time, but that was a number of years ago. Foreigners investing heavily in condos, land, driving up property prices. All right. Well, let's see. Environmental damage. Maya Bay closed due to tourist destruction, now with limited access. Marine life decline. Coral reefs destroyed by divers. Boat anchors. Mountains of garbage generated daily in tourist zones. I always wonder about that. What do they do with it? They just bring it out to the middle of the ocean and then dump it? What do they do with all this garbage? How do they process it? Do they burn it? I just kind of wonder. Listen, if you've been to Doi Intanon, you know that that place is overrun. There's too many people. Erewhon, Semilin Islands struggling with crowds. What was that place? Even when we went to Monjam, just outside of, well, it was in Chiang Mai, but outside of the city, when we went there were people. Too many people. When we went to, what was the name of that place? Doi Pui? It was the place that had the coffee. We've been there 3 or 4 times. And I almost lost my drone because the sun was so bright. I couldn't see it. I couldn't get it to come back automatically because for some reason the signal wasn't reaching it. It was just a nightmare. But that place was really cool, and there were not that many tourists there. You know, you could get like blueberries there. You get a big sack of blueberries for like 100 baht. It was great. With the increase in tourists comes an increase in scams. Jet ski, motorcycle rentals, tuk-tuk overcharging, petty theft. Locals are often blamed when visitors fall victim due to the lack of regulation. Okay, maybe. Growing resentment, this is true, among locals towards tourists acting entitled or disrespectful. There is nothing worse than some guy who's a tourist acting like he's entitled or just acting disrespectful to a Thai person. for no other reason than he's not getting what he thinks he should be getting. There's no room for that. Now, what I will say is Thailand, in my opinion, is over-reliant on tourism. And their economy is still very vulnerable. If you think about it, if we had another COVID, what the hell am I thinking I was going to say? If I can't, I don't know, I'm blanking out here. Let me think here. A pandemic. If we had another pandemic here and Thailand had to close down, where would they be? All the tourists have to leave. Now they have all these tourists here, and maybe the tourists are not able to get out. What are they going to do with them? We have no money. Or we have money, but, give us a deal because, we're staying here and we don't want to stay here. We want to go home. You won't let us go home. What are they going to do? What are they going to do when they have no tourists to pay the bill? What are they going to do? Because eventually the buck will stop. I don't know how long, but, they are denigrating a lot of the areas. I mean, even when I went to, you think about when I went to, what was the name of that? What was it? Wat Pukao. That was the temple that I walked around the side of the temple, and it was on like little planks, and it was scary as hell because you're, 2,000 feet up in the air. What happens when so many people have walked on that? That it's no longer viable and they have to redo the whole thing. I know that's looking ahead. But don't you think maybe you should look ahead? You want to keep that kind of thing going? I mean, fortunately, those are natural, what is it called? Hin Samwan. The three whale rock, that kind of place. They don't have to do much. You just have to have an entrance place, and then you put a yellow line. Don't cross this yellow line, even though people do it. And you got a place. But what about the beaches? And scuba diving? All these things that, the number of tourists, that has an effect on the place that you're visiting. You destroy all the coral. Then what do? How are we going to get the coral back? Well, they can't. Oh, well, sorry. That's the end of that. I've seen too many entitled farangs in tourist areas. Listen, in 30 years, do you know how many people I've seen that acted like they were entitled to things? Way too many to count. And maybe in the beginning I was a little entitled. I don't know. I think about it and I think I can't see myself acting like that. I didn't really act like that. I didn't act like, well, you got to give me this and you got to give me that and I'm giving you money, and I never acted like that. But you got to think about that. Let's see. As I said, if there was another pandemic, some of the towns would probably collapse. You see how many businesses went out of business because of COVID, because of the pandemic. And some of the locals would not have jobs. They'd be forced to take any job. And the tourist revenue, it benefits a lot of the larger corporations and not necessarily small businesses. So you have to think about these kind of things. If there are, let's say that this year there are 40 million tourists or more, 42 million, whatever. I think the hotel rates, the entrance fees, the transportation costs, they're all going to be passed on to the tourist. That's what I mean. You know, it's like, what are you going to do? You can't get it back. So you can't get it back. That means the place is not as valuable as it was in the past. Now, Maya Bay, people always talking about that. And yeah, in Bali, I mean, you know, Bali was a place where Australians used to go. Then it started growing and having all kinds of tourists going there. And I went there, and I love it. But I think about living there, and I think, I don't know that I'd want to live there. Now I think that. When I was there, I was like, well, this would be kind of cool. But I don't want to live right in the city. I don't want to live in the heart of the action. So then you're going to have to stay somewhere near a beach or something that there's not many people. Listen, I know this is off the subject, but I just saw a thing yesterday about crocodiles. And, you know, for the most part, crocodiles are in rivers and canals and things like that. But in Costa Rica and in Indonesia, crocodiles have been seen in the ocean, which is scary as hell. And some surfers in Gilles, which is a very, very popular spot there. It's like the spot to go surfing in Indonesia. It's like the best spot in all of Indonesia. There was a row of surfers out, and they saw a huge crocodile. And they were like, that's it, boom, we're out of here. They all went in, and they were like, I'm getting out of here. When I see a crocodile, it's time to go. You know, so they all split, and I don't know what happened, but they had to get away. Yeah, almost 50% are in Thailand for the women in the nightlife. Cheap cost of living, 12%. Food, 25%. Beaches and islands, 17%. Well, I don't really live in a tourist hotspot, my friend. I hate to tell you that, but I don't. Where I live is not in a tourist area. The experience that you have here may be degraded. The beaches, the markets, the overcrowded temples. It will become harder and harder to find authentic experiences. And, you know, Thailand is becoming modernized. It used to be, oh, it's such a nice mix between traditional and modern. Well, now, if you come to Bangkok or one of the big cities, they're modernized. I mean, I know Jim says, oh, I can't find taco, whatever, taco this, taco that. But, you know, eventually you will get everything. Everything will start to come to the cities, the smaller cities. They will start to come into you will start to be able to get them. Maybe they'll have a tourist cap, who knows? Maybe there'll be new taxes. The dual pricing structure, I don't understand. If you think you're really gonna charge taxes to foreigners, then what does the foreigner get for his money? You cannot say, I'm not giving you anything for your money. You're gonna have to pay 10 times or 5 times more than everybody else, even though you're a taxpayer here. That's just not fair, and I think people would be screaming bloody murder. Let's see here. Example, Phuket's green-free idea. Proposals for digital nomad taxes. I had not heard about this, but let me check it out here. Well, what is let's see here. No, I don't see anything about it. Let me see something else here. These are recent proposals Thailand has floated to deal with over-tourism and to make tourists contribute more to the country's economy and infrastructure strain. A proposed environmental tax or green fee charged to every tourist visiting Phuket. Early suggestions mentioned is 300 to 500 baht a person, but no set amount is finalized. This is so that the fee can contribute to offsetting environmental damage, funding sustainable tourism projects, and protect natural resources, paying for infrastructure upgrades that locals are tired of shouldering. It's not implemented yet, and it's still being debated locally because tourism operators worry it will scare off budget travelers, but the pressure is growing. This would work like the fee Bureaucracy charges or what some European cities do. Good idea, but if poorly managed, the money disappears into corruption. And I would not doubt that. And, you know, what are you paying if you're going to pay 300 baht to come into the country? Now, you're paying 300 baht to come in the country. Then you go to Phuket. Oh, I've got to pay here. It's just like you're in Africa. You pay a fee so that you can take photos. And then you go, you're in that region. Then you go to the next city and they go, oh, well, you paid for the region, but you got to pay for each city. Now you got to pay in our city. I got to pay more? That's how it works. Now, the digital nomad taxes, they realize that digital nomads are working remotely while living there cheaply and contributing little in taxes. There are talks of introducing a specific tax or mandatory visa scheme to fix this. Create a dedicated digital nomad visa. Well, we already did that. Require remote workers to register and pay taxes if they stay longer than a set period, 90 or 188 days. Prevent people from living long-term on tourist visas or border bouncing. That's already happening. Digital nomads use Thai infrastructure, hospitals, roads, internet, but rarely pay income tax. No, but they put money into the system. Countries like Portugal, Bali, Indonesia, and Spain are already taxing nomads or charging high fees. Thailand has made noise about this for 2 years. There's no law yet, but it's coming, probably aimed at high-income earners working remotely. It's long overdue, and too many expats and nomads are gaming the system. Thailand will eventually tighten this up. So basically, Thailand knows that the tourism is out of control, and the government is looking for ways to make foreigners pay more for the wear and tear they cause, and locals are tired of footing the bill. Well, they're tired of footing the bill, but they're not tired of having the foreigners come in and spend their money. They spend their money at their restaurants. They have to pay for chairs at the beach. They have to pay for all kinds of things. So why are we not paying? We're not already paying? I don't understand this. I mean, I understand it in theory, but, you know, it's kind of ridiculous. So many drunken fights there. Do you like living in a tourist? Well, I don't live in a tourist hotspot. It's funny that everyone hates on tourists, but we were all tourists once. Well, I was a tourist once, and when I came as a tourist, I was here either on a tourist visa or a visa exemption. Now I live here and I'm on a different visa. So I think there's a difference. Why doesn't China start charging huge tariffs? It's happening in some other countries. Tariffs on what? China has been charging huge tariffs on automobiles for a long time. I understand that, but I'm talking about on what else? How is it going to affect tourists? He want our tourists paying more taxes to relieve burden on residents. LTR visa currently is still exempt from taxes in Thailand, as far as I know. Well, everybody's talking about taxes. Maybe if the Thai government went after its people, who only 20% of the population pays taxes here. Maybe if they went after these people and got them to pay their taxes, they'd get millions and millions of dollars that they supposedly desperately need. I mean, I do understand this. You only have so much money to go around, and you're trying to spend it on certain things. The other thing is they've got to get a handle on the corruption. I mean, I'm saying this, and I don't know exactly where all the corruption lies. I know there are a few people that are better served and more capable than I am to figure out, and they know exactly where the most corrupt areas are in the government. I know there are several people, but I think they need to figure things out, and they just haven't done it. And and what happens is, I mean, look what's going on with the prime minister now. She may get kicked out of office. You don't know. I don't think so. You never know, but she might. And then if she does, now you got to start over again with somebody else. You have to start with somebody else. New. And then in another couple of years, you might have to start with somebody else. So by the time they start to make any progress, whoop, I'm out of office, time to go. And that was explained to me a long time ago, because that's what happens in boxing. With their governing bodies. They're in for 2 years, and by the end of the 2 years, it's time to, Well, that's another thing. Tourists pay VAT. So what are we, this is, how many taxes do we have to pay? And, if I'm paying the taxes, why am I going to pay 10 times more, 5 times more? And me especially, because I've got kids. My kids don't pay anything extra. My kids go in as Thais. My wife goes in as Thai. Now, once in a great while, they'll let me in as a Thai. Simply because I speak to them in Thai, and they know, I'm not speaking like, Pai Nai, you understand me? You Khao Chai? I don't speak like that. So they understand, this guy's been here a long time. He's got, retirement visa. Okay, we'll let him go through. That happens at the ancient city all the time. I never have had to pay at the ancient city. There's several places where they don't, they don't make me pay. But in some places, they go, no, you have to pay. And I'm like, well, I'm not paying. Bye, see you later. And in some places, I leave. In some places, I grumble under my breath, and I pay it because the whole family's going. I don't want to ruin the day. And, I'm irritated by it. But, it is what it is. All right, let's see here. Possible solutions. Promote high-value tourism. Now, that's a crock of shit. They've been trying to promote high-value tourism for a number of years. You're only going to get so many people. Let me tell you something. There are better places for people to come who have an exorbitant amount of money. Thank you very much there, LCTR fan. Appreciate that. Now, can I give you a like? Yes, I can. Appreciate that. There you go. Choke D to you. And I've said it before. I walk down the street and I see a canal, and there's shit floating in the canal, and there's garbage, and there's toxic materials floating in the canal. And this is not in Kong Tui. This is right here. Now, I go down the street and it's higher end. Go down by Nawamin and Happy Land. You go down in that area and the houses are all nice. You see nice cars. They got money, right? But nobody wants to be in a hotel and you look down and there's a stinky canal. Get rid of the canal if you can't clean it up. Listen, I was thinking about it. You know, Mr. Billy used to stay down at this place by, thank you. Thanks again. He used to stay down by Soy Tonson. Let's go. And we used to go to Sarni's all the time. Right across the street from Sarni's is a canal. Now, it's not really bad. It's not like you look down and there's just garbage everywhere, like in Klong Dui. But it isn't really that clean either. It's a bit smelly. There are some monitor lizards there. Okay, maybe it adds to the allure of the place. But it's not what I would consider to be high-end. People with money go to Switzerland, to France, to Italy, to Greece. They go to places in Europe. In South America, they're going to Argentina. They're going to Chile. They're going to Ecuador. They're going to Brazil. They're going to Costa Rica. And, you know, if you've got $3,000 a month, which is not an exorbitant amount of money, it's not all that much. $3,000 is not that much. That's only 100,000, you know, about 100,000 baht here. That's not that much money. But you know what? In some places, you can live pretty good. You got 2,500. You can save $500 a month. You got $500 a month to spend, and you pay your bills, and you're living good. So for somebody who has a retirement, it's $3,000 a month, $4,000 a month. You can go many, many places in the world that, to me, are equal to or better than Thailand. And I mean, I love Thailand. To me, it kind of fits my personality because it's, you know, most of the people are like, I don't give a damn. What you're doing, I don't care. Doesn't matter. Might been right. Never mind, you know, they just don't care. As long as you're not doing something to them or that affects them. You know, whatever. You know, it is what it is. Let it be. Sabay, sabay. And I like that. But it does come at a certain expense. You know, there are some things that, you know, listen, if you want to go to a nice place, I went to Cannes in France a number of years ago. I think it was like 2002 or something like that. And I went there. Me and I think two other guys. And we rented a house. It was like $700 each for the week, for like 2 weeks or something like that. I think we were there for 15 days. We all coughed up about, I think that the total was about $2,000 for all of us. And every morning I would dress up. I'm wearing a suit. I'd walk down to the marina, and there's all kinds of croissant shops and coffee shops, cafes. I'd go down there, I'd sit right on where all the people are walking around on the boardwalk and looking at the boats coming in and leaving and having my coffee, and I thought, this is fantastic. Now, if I had the money, maybe I'd be there. It was a great place. I really liked it. But I started doing the math, and I went, no, it's too expensive. You know, maybe in a few years it won't be too expensive. I don't know. But my point is, Thailand is a good place to live. I don't know that it's the best. It's a very good place to live. And if you have some money, you can live very comfortably here. And we live comfortably. We don't want for much. You know, now we got to pay. But, you know, many places honor my resident card and allow me exemption from the due prices. Only the national parks. Yeah, but national parks, they always want to screw you. They're always like that. Now, let me see something here. Yeah, no one really knows. That's the thing. I'm looking at this, what I'm seeing online right now, and no one knows about the 60-day visa exemption. Oh, are they going to turn it back? Are they not going to turn it back? What are they going to do? Nobody knows. It's crazy. Okay, Andy, I hope you're well, man. Take it easy. All right, let me just see this. Let me see this this poll. What's the main reason you think people come to Thailand? All right, 47% put women and nightlife. There you go. Almost half of the people that come, they're coming for the punani. I mean, that's the truth. They're coming here to get laid. I guess if Thailand did away with its women, I don't know that as many people would come. Cost of living, only 10%. I think it's the value. That would have been a better way to put it. The value for the money. I think that's what might be a better way to put it. But food and culture is 27%, and beaches and island 17%. I'm going to end this poll, and I got one last poll to put up. I wonder what percentage of expats ending up leaving Thailand because they can't tolerate the heat as they thought they would. I'd say a small percentage. Most people who come here do not come here to live, and they have never been here before. So if they've come here before, they know that it can get very hot. It has nothing to do with the ladyboy culture, man. Everybody thinks, oh, ladyboys. Listen, I see ladyboys all the time, and I don't even pay attention to them. They mean nothing to me. Now, I know there's some people out here, like MGTOW Gamer, that, they're all into the ladyboys. Okay, good for you. To each his own. That's what I say. But that's not why. It happened because of the Vietnam War. That's what got Thailand started in the sex industry. There was a long time ago when Americans were stationed in Udon Thani. And, even before the war, there were brothels and massage parlors and entertainment venues that served the Chinese, the locals, the regional travelers. And because of the poverty, people got to make a living, man. And, it's the oldest profession for a reason. So, yeah, it really started when, the U.S. military started as an R&R hub for soldiers that were fighting in Vietnam. There was 7 major U.S. bases, Udon Thani, Ubon Ratchathani, Nakhon Phanom, Korat. I don't know where the other ones are. I'm going to say Bangkok, but I'm not sure about that. At its peak, 50,000 plus U.S. military personnel were stationed in Thailand. And, the Thais saw the money that could come in, and U.S. soldiers spent approximately $2 million a day at its peak, which kind of fueled the sex trade. And around this time, Pattaya was just a little fishing village. It was nothing, but it became what it is today, which is Sin City. and it's never really died. And Thailand is kind of addicted, just like they are addicted to the tourism revenue, they are addicted to the sex industry revenue. So all these people can talk about, oh, we're going to do away with it. We're not going to. They're too reliant on it now. So even though it's not really officially endorsed, they still let it go. It thrives here, and now it's become a hot spot. There's billions and billions of baht coming into this country because of it. All right, let me see something else here, if I can. Well, where is the... If I can do this here, let me see. Ha ha ha. No, this is oh, they should be promoting Bunkan big time. Is there still a hidden Thailand? Very, very hard to find. And some of the places I know, and the only reason I know them is maybe because of my wife or because I've been traveling through and I stopped someplace and I went, oh wow. But, expats are part of the problem, not just the tourists, although mainly the tourists, they're the ones. And, the bottom line, it comes down to, well, what is the right number? Is Thailand selling out its charm one tourist at a time? And how long before there's really nothing left for people, nothing left of value for people to buy? Let's see here. Okay, I got another one here. Oh, this is a pretty good one. Let me put this one up here. What does that say here? I can't even see that. Let me see something here. I see that as two things. I was thinking women as someone they met on a dating app. For a lot of the tourists who are coming in for the nightlife, they're not exactly going out to RCA on their first or second trip. That doesn't usually happen. They're not going to places, a lot of them are not going to places that are straight up discos or bars or whatever. Some of them do. They go with their girlfriends, or they've got a Thai girlfriend or something like that. But for the most part, all right, see you later, Dowlo. But for the most part, a lot of them, they're just going to wherever they can get the girls. Khao Yai is a popular tourist area. It's not that popular. And it's not overlooked by me at all. Khao Yai, Khao Sok. I like these places. They're very nice, but, all right, what I'm going to say is, if anybody wants to send me like a Dear Scott letter, like a chowderhead type letter, Dear Scott, I'll call it. Or they want to get a consultation, you can email me at anamericaninbangkok@gmail.com, and we'll work out something to where you guys are happy. Um, you know, that's all I can do. I can ask people if they want to send them, they can send them. I think at this point, quite honestly, the days before when I used to do those chowderhead videos, I don't think that the guys are quite as naive as they used to be. People learn. After a while, they learn. They know. You know, but there are still some stupid guys out there. I understand that. There are a lot of dummies out there. And while the number might have dwindled a little bit, you know, cow soak, amazing. Yeah, I never forget that trapdoor spider, and there's all kinds of things. I saw some frogs, and we were on the, I mean, you know, it was a lot of fun. But probably the most fun I've had was, you know, for something like that is in Myanmar, going down a river, and the military is at one end of the river, and we were headed in that direction, and we're out in the middle of nowhere. That was probably the most fun I've had on a river in all my time in Asia. Well, hopefully people are learning. But let me write this here. Hang on a second. I got one last poll to put up. And hopefully we'll get some answers. Yes, sometimes no. Yes, sometimes no. All right, here we go. Another one. You know what's funny is I cannot answer any of these. It won't let me answer. It won't let me answer any of these. Whatever, I guess my opinion is jaded. Yeah, I've got some other ones. I'll put them up in the community tab. I'll put the questions up in the community tab, and you guys can answer them, because I got a couple more questions. They're pretty good questions, pretty interesting. But let me continue here and finish up. You know, one of the things that might be a possible solution is to spread the tourism past the hot spots, and as I said, promote different places like the Isan area, Renong, Bungkan, Nan. Bungkan, let me tell you, Bungkan was probably one of the best provinces I've ever been to. And I can't remember the girl's name. She used to work at Starbucks. She was from there. And she had never been to the places that I was talking about. I'm like, what the hell? Better regulations, crack down on illegal foreign businesses. Now that is something that's been happening lately, and it happens with a lot of Chinese. They start their own little business, and they think they can just run a tourism company, and you can't do that here. And what Thailand really needs to do is they need to start earning money from other economic sectors, so that they're not relying so heavily on tourism. So what I want to know is, have you seen the changes in Thailand over the years? I mean, I've been here in 30 years, and I can tell you I've definitely seen the changes. I talked about it before. Like in 1995, there was 6.8 million tourists. Now there's almost 40 million. So think about that. Yeah, and also, do you know of any hidden spots in Thailand that are left? I know of a few. And I know of a few. One is, it was good, but it wasn't that good. I wouldn't want to live in this spot. Two of the other places were pretty good, and maybe I would live there. And there's one other spot, and I'm not sure about it. Should Thailand cap the number of tourists or risk losing what makes it special? Or will they risk it? You think they're risking it? What's going to happen? So really, too much tourism is a double-edged sword. It's money versus sustainability. And you know, when you look at the Thais, no offense to them, and I doubt that this is any different anywhere else. Most people go for the money. They want, oh yes, let's have sustainability, but when it comes down to it, the money wins out. So, should you visit here? Should you come to Thailand? I'm going to say no, don't come. Go somewhere else. But that's just me. I want less people, not more. And how can you be a better tourist? Are you a good tourist, or are you, you know, some knucklehead? I know there's a lot of knuckleheads out there. And then, you know, what I think about is, in another 10 or 20 years, what's Thailand going to be like? By that time, I'll either be dead or I'll be old, and it's not really going to matter to me. In 20 years, I'll be almost 83. So, you know, and at that point, I'll be here more than 50 years. $11 votes so far. Long wait times. No, generally I make reservations for cruises, etc. And so, well, I mean, cruises in Thailand are not. It's not like there are some cruises that are very nice, and you know, I understand it. You got to make an appointment or whatever, but cruises are not a major aspect of the tourism industry. You're gonna take a little nighttime cruise or something like that. That's what most people are talking about. The thing is if you go to some places, there's not going to be a huge number of tourists. It's not going to be busload after busload of Chinese tourists or Korean tourists or whatever it might be. You're not going to see that. But there will be tourists. Now, like when I went to Phnom, Sichon, Bungkan, Bungkan had some Thai tourists. I don't really remember any Western tourists. I was really one of the only ones. There were not many, I can tell you that. There was a handful at most, and I don't even remember them, so that tells you something. So that's Bungkan, and I really liked it. And Nakhon Phanom, same thing. Handful of tourists, mostly Thai tourists. Very nice place. But Phnom, Sichon, I think those places are going to start getting more and more tourists, but I don't know, because really you can go and there's some places that have some nice beaches and the water's pretty nice. I don't know. For me, like, the ideal beach is turquoise water. You can see the bottom of the ocean. You're in a sheltered area where you're not getting blown by the wind, you're not getting blown around by the wind. There's people, but not too many people. Well, I've been to Trang before. And there's not a huge number of tourists there. But it's not really a place that, has a huge amount going on. That's why tourists don't generally go. They pass through. And I passed through, I don't know if it was the last time I've been there, but one of the last times, and that's when I went to Koh Chang in the south. It's next to Koh Payam. Of course it's true. There's many, many islands that they're done. Why would you want to go there? You know, like, why do I want to go to a place where it's done to death? And that's the thing about Thailand. Much of Thailand is done to death. And I don't know how to put it any other way. I mean, I've seen it happen over the years. It's done to death. You can't do anything more. It'll never come back. You know, maybe in 20 years it'll come back. I don't know. In 10 years, whatever. People stop going to a place. But, you know, like I keep saying, Kanom, Sichon, these kind of places are few and far between. And those are not all that unknown. People know about them. They just don't want to go there. There's other places they want to go. Because really, there's not a ton to do. You know, the only thing that I had to do there, I mean, I went to a little food festival one night. I went out to eat quite a bit. You know, went to some local places to eat. I went to coffee shops. I went out to the beach. I flew my drone. And then it was just like every other place. But the scenery was nice. You're in a nice area, you know? So, you can get that in all kinds of places. You can find that in all kinds of places. Oh, what happened to the poll? Oh, there it is. Have you personally experienced overcrowding or long waits in Thailand? Yes, often 11%. Sometimes 47%. No, 42%. Now it's 50 and 40. 10, 50, 40. Okie dokie. So, thank you very much, everybody. That is all I have. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Is Thailand turning into a giant tourist trap? Is this truth or is it exaggeration? I'd appreciate it if you all let me know in the comments. Is it the Chinese? Is it the Indians? Is it the Israelis? Is it the Americans? Who is it? And how much is enough? 40 million? 50 million? I don't know. Let me know what you think. Anyway, thank you. I will talk to you all later. Until next time, I'm Scott. I'm an American in Bangkok. Chok ni leo jerken mai. That's good luck and see you again.